So obviously this is a big week for the NBA trades, the draft, all that stuff. We've got some thoughts on the trades first. I'm going to make Haley wait to talk about the Celtics for a second because I was going to talk about the Celtics first and Tyler really said no, Poole Party. That's
Yeah, the pool
first.
party.
Tyler is
Yeah.
Very excited for the
riding the
pool
pool
party.
party.
I know Kendra's a
Same.
pool fan too, so I figured we had to talk about him first.
I am a Jordan Poole stan. Fuck Draymond
A
Green.
Jordan
He's
Poole apologist, if you will.
I am whatever you want to call me, as long as it's proactive and positive.
I would argue truther instead of apologist.
That does sound better than apologist.
I would argue you're an OG pool truther too.
This is a pool party podcast.
Yes. Splish splash. Your opinion is trash, bitch.
Yep.
So, anyways, I have said before that I think when you either move teams or you get fired or cut or you go somewhere else and you're going to be good or you whatever, it's called winning the breakup in my book. Jordan Poole could be the worst basketball player to ever play after this trade. But you know what? He won the breakup, in my opinion, because he's getting away from that toxic ass relationship with Draymond Green. He already unfollowed him on Instagram. He got a bag. He's going somewhere new, somewhere cool. Like, fuck all of that shit. Fuck what you heard. Fuck what you've been on. Jordan Poole is back. It is Pool Party in DC hour. I don't care. I also think that this is a good trade outside of that, just because I don't know if Draymond's going to be in I guess they're in San Francisco now, not Oakland. So I don't know if he's going to be there next year. He is a free agent. I know that he's like testing the waters of whatever, but CP3 going to the Warriors, I think is good because they're also an older team with a lot of experience. He's an older guy, doesn't have the experience piece of winning a championship or a ring. But if he's going to do it, I think that this is his best shot at doing so, especially because like anytime you get to play for Steve Kerr, like I feel like you should take that opportunity.
Absolutely. I think it's so crazy too that we are having a conversation that CP3 still doesn't have a ring. Like that's crazy to me. Like when I think about that, and I think honestly, I hate how cheesy and corny it sounds at this rate, but the Warriors might be his best shot at it, and I think
it's
a
true.
good fit for him. So I really hope it works out. I mean, I grew up watching him. Like I feel like he's just been in the league for so long, but I just want him to do well.
I like the move for him too, because as tough as the West has gotten through some of these trades, like you look at Denver and I mean, obviously, I'm sorry, Denver didn't have a trade, but they're going to be the number 1 seed in the West coming out of here. But when you look at Phoenix with this trade and the 3 that they now have, at least it's getting a little bit more competitive, but you have a better shot of making it out of the West with Steph Curry and Steve Kerr than you do coming out of the beast of the East right now with teams like Miami, maybe Philadelphia, depending on what happens there. You look at Milwaukee, you've got the Celtics. It's going to be way easier for a finals path coming out of the West than it is the East. That being said, there's a lot of talk, especially with the Celtics, about, can they afford to keep these guys? Who can they afford to sign long term? They're going to owe these guys close to $300 million each in a year. So, like, I just got to say, the cap is not real. Like, how are the Warriors? I say this across the leagues. I don't give a fuck. It's so fake. It's so fucking fake, dude.
I will, yeah. So if you're a new listener, Kendra is very much a cap is fake fan. Truther,
as am I.
As is Tyler. I naively, when I started kind of doing this and covering sports, I was very much like, they don't have enough money in the cap. There's no way they can do it. The cap doesn't allow for it. And one of our first shows we did previewing a draft, Kendra's like, the cap is not real. There's no such thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I think it really also speaks to the fluidity in the NBA right now. If you look at where we were at this point last year, looking at the 22-23 season, I think the Eastern Conference was just so dynamic and so interesting. And there wasn't that much excitement about the West. Whereas now, obviously, like you pointed out in Phoenix, I'm really excited to see how that works out. I really hope they don't be the Phoenix Suns and like blow it. But I remain optimistic for them. And I think that honestly, I'm excited to watch the Western Conference, which is something I'm usually not super excited to watch during the NBA season as a Boston Celtics fan. And now, as we'll get into, a Memphis fan.
I can't hate the Suns at all, even though a lot of people do and they're going to. I kind of love them for a championship next season. if they get lucky with what happens in the East, obviously whoever comes out of the East, I don't care who gets traded where, how these rookies develop. Whoever comes out of the East is, I don't care who it is. They're my favorite, you know? But a lot of people hate on Kevin Durant. I kind of fucking love Kevin Durant just because he is like, he's not like, I don't want to call him a piece of shit, but like just the Twitter burners and the drama and him refusing to be called Durantula because he wants to be easy money sniper. I hate all of that so much that I'm kind of like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Draymond Green has made me appreciate Kevin Durant more because
I hate Draymond
I hate him so much.
I'm a big
that-
Draymond guy.
Of course you
I
are.
like Draymond.
Of course you are.
Big
You just
Draymond
hate
guy.
happiness and the good things in the world.
And
so
the
that would
game
make
of
sense.
basketball and being respectful and
I
not
like a
shooting
character.
people
I
in
like
the-
a villain. I love
Well,
a villain in
no,
basketball.
you shut up. You
and
know
in
why you like
sports.
Draymond Green? Because
You can't say Michigan because he went to Michigan State.
no, because I'm Tyler. Because he went back to Michigan State and punched one of his own football players in the face at a club.
He might have deserved it.
Okay,
We
there it
don't
is.
know.
There it is.
He might have
That's
had it
it.
coming. Do we know?
That's it.
Well, the court papers also say that his friends may have put their hands on the guy's girlfriend as well. So, Tyler.
I like a villain. I like a heel. I like a good WWE heel. Welcome back,
Dude.
Jameson.
JMO. I am not a Draymond truther at all. He's the only reason that when I was covering the Warriors that I could not be a Warriors fan.
Yeah, I have absolutely detested him in the last couple seasons. And what I was saying before I had to, if you're watching on YouTube, you're getting a great show today, just watching Jameson come in and out. But I think that I don't mind Kevin Durant as much as I used to. And I'm kind of hoping for his success, which is something that I've never really
I
thought
hate
I
love
would
him.
say
I hate
before.
love him.
I hate love him too. And I'm sorry, Durantula is a far superior nickname. I don't
Easy
even
money
understand how
sniper.
this is still a conversation. Like,
No.
come on.
He
That's
originally
just so-
wanted his nickname to be the Servant.
Wasn't he
He's a beta. I like him even more now. Tyler, stop.
what was he before the Durantula?
It's something about him being skinny. Slim Reaper.
Slim Reaper. I was gonna
yeah,
say
that's
it was the Scream guy. Like that's what I was
Slim
trying to-
Reaper.
Slim
That's
Reaper.
also
Ghostface.
so
Which is
sick.
so much better than the last one, than the Easy Money Sniper. Like both of those nicknames are
Easy Money
great.
Sniper is just too much of a mouthful.
It sounds like someone's Xbox gamer tag.
It does.
Yeah.
It sounds like a auto-generated gamer tag at that.
This was not in our notes at all.
No.
Yeah, quick Kevin Durant rant. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, we're Katie apologists now. Even though I kind of hate him still.
Don't
I don't know.
tweet me that because
No.
I will not take that title at all.
The big news of the week, if you listen to our show, is probably the Celtics. In a three-way trade, they received Kristaps Porzingis and picks and traded Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. Haley, I have a ton of notes about this whole thing and a lot of thoughts. I need to know, first and foremost, as a player, nothing else, because we'll get into it. How do you feel about Kristaps Porzingis?
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying as a player, because that is very important to keep in mind here, especially as what we're going to talk about later. Listen, if he can stay not injured, I'm intrigued. I'll say it. I'm a little intrigued. I don't know. I think if he can stay healthy, I'm interested to see what he will bring in terms of a veteran personality, not having as, much of a younger squad, maybe having some more of that outside perspective, hopefully to lead, not necessarily lead Jason Tatum, but help steer him to leading this team in the right direction. If he is Kristaps Porzingis and is injured a lot, I think this is really stupid. And I don't know that we have necessarily seen something that has given them that excitement, but obviously they're going to do what they're going to do. Brad Stevens is going to Brad Stevens. I just, at this point, I'm buckled in, and just whatever the Celtics do, I just have to kind of like look out the window and be like, okay, because I feel very much like I usually feel with New England Patriots, which is that they're just going to say, fuck it and go for it.
what do you think he brings to the team that you didn't have? And does he make this a championship team now? Because I don't think so. I think that they stayed the exact same team that they were. They just knew they needed to dump the Marcus Smart contract in hopes that Jason Tatum could become this, leader on this team. But I gotta say, unless they trade Grant Williams, he's the only set of balls that's on your team, and he's not even in your starting five. And that's fucking concerning as fuck to me.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna cap. I think he is gone. Grant Williams is out of here. That's the word that I'm hearing. Listen, I mean, I don't think that Kristaps Porzingis really brings anything super special to the team. Obviously, like I just pointed out with his injuries, and if you look at his like stats from last year, there's a lot of zips that you're seeing across the board. So, we have seen that you can be a great basketball player in 2015 when he went in the first round. Now we're in 2023, 8 years later, the hype around the people should not be the same. Like, I think Porzingis, I still think back to that draft, and I still think back to all the hype around him then. And then you have to remember that he's not necessarily the same player he was then. We've seen a lot of injuries happen over the course of his tenure. I don't know. I don't see anything other than height and just having a name from another organization.
So they're not a championship team.
No, I didn't say that. I
asked
that.
Also, we are having a truce right here. Haley and I know that no matter how contentious this gets, we love each other.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Listen, I'm honestly like as a Celtics fan and as a Celtics apologist, 100% through and through. I wasn't really super psyched about this. I love Marcus Smart. I love what he brought to the team just as a personality, and obviously his playing ability can be discussed, but I think he was a really strong player and a really fundamental aspect to what they have created there going forward. Under Joe Mazzulla, I'm not necessarily sure how everything is going to come into fruition, but I still remain really confident in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and their leadership abilities. And I think that they have the capability to become a really strong team, obviously a strong contender in the Eastern Conference. I think I'm still too raw coming off the playoffs. If I'm being 100% honest, like I can't even think about them making a playoff run right now because I just can't think about that pain again. I know that sounds so bad, but like, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so obviously you just said it, and it's not a secret that you are a Celtics apologist.
100%.
During this whole conversation of the trade with other teams, Malcolm Brogdon was originally the guy allegedly on the trade block, and at the last minute, the Clippers decided that he wasn't healthy enough to go after and trade for, so they had to find somebody else in Memphis to kind of make that trade happen minutes before Kristaps Porzingis' contract had some complications with it at midnight. And so if the Celtics knew that Malcolm Brogdon's injury was this bad, is that kind of shady on the Celtics' part to still kind of try and deal him somewhere else, knowing, Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Because I think that that's really fucking shady.
I think it's shady. Listen, I thought it was shady when he was in the conversation to begin with, because we saw him, obviously you have it in here. First thing I thought of we always make a joke at the bar when we go to the Celtics games, sixth best man instead of best sixth man, because we always just mess up the word. So I always say that. If I say that, I don't mean it, but best sixth man in the NBA. Listen, I think that's a huge accolade. And I said that when he received that. I think that's a really big deal, just because it shows his ability to not only come off the bench and play well, but in a team of such dynamic. And I feel so weird saying this because they played so shitty in the last series they played in. But for the most part, a group of really dynamic scorers, I thought he added something really different. And brought something, really kind of kicked them in the ass a little bit when they needed to. So I was surprised that they were shopping him around a little bit. And then I saw the report that the Clippers were like, that injury though, And then it made a lot more sense to me. So I think that you're right. It's definitely a little bit shady. Obviously, now the word is that Brogdon is going to stay with Boston, which I'm excited about just because I like him as a person. I like him as a player. But yeah, definitely some shady stuff going on. But not to say that that doesn't happen everywhere.
Like, I don't even mean just shady in like the injury report fact. I also mean shady towards like him. You know what I mean? It's like you have been with us for 1 year.
Exactly.
You have a season where you don't win like it's not a not for nothing accolade. And now we very much reportedly put you on the trade block as an injured person and tried to get away with it. And now we're like tucking our tail between our legs because we're probably not going to be able to deal you now that you're this injured and we didn't let out that you were this injured. So now you're going to be on this team next year, which is good because the talent's great. But at the same time, how do you expect someone just to be like, oh yeah, no big deal, guys. Let's go chase a ring.
Yeah. I don't know. I think so much of it too is going to come from the coaching with the new coaching team that they're putting together. I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out and what they're really going to try and improve upon and just see it's almost like an experiment, right? Like I'm kind of just interested to see how that's all going to work out. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of pieces moving together this coming season to make the Celtics work.
I don't think they're done making moves. I don't think they can be done making moves.
I certainly hope not. Please, God.
Because their bench depth is minuscule at the moment. Yeah. That being said, who do you think is more likely to go, Grant Williams or Peyton Pritchard? That's my last question about the Celtics before we talk about the Grizzlies in this trade.
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked, Chub, and I'm going to answer this partially because I want to hear your answer as well. I'm going to go Grant Williams. You have had a lot of thoughts on Grant Williams over this past season and just in general, his presence on the Celtics or lack thereof on the court, rather. The rumors I've been hearing is a sign and trade agreement for Williams to leave. With Porzingis coming in, I think he's going to want a team that's going to give him more minutes. As we saw this season, that was kind of lacking, and I think it will continue to lack, especially with Porzingis if he stays healthy coming onto the team. Don't know where he's going to go. I know that we've talked about previously, and I can't remember, you texted me something along the lines during playoffs of like, wasn't this supposed to be Grant Williams' team? ? And it's just like, so I don't know. I don't think it was getting to a point where we would see our W3 out there a lot more than we would saw Grant Williams. That was the Williams you would see. Or you said it's the wrong, made a comment about the wrong Williams or something. So you have had Grant Williams up here for a while.
No, I know what it was. It was that Robert Williams was supposed to start or something like that. And I don't know. It was a joke about the Williams, but it's not Grant Williams' team. Never has been, never will be.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of like, I don't feel, and not to not give him credit, I don't personally, as a fan, feel as tied to him as I do Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, etc.
You shouldn't.
And I think that if he wants more minutes, he's not going to find him here. So
they should never
bench depth.
They should never cater to him ever. I think that Peyton Pritchard's more likely to be gone just because with this vanilla ass big three in quotes, where's your attitude coming from? I'm sorry. Where is it coming from? Where's your bully ball coming from? Where is your hustle coming from? And I don't think that Grant Williams is a starter. Maybe somewhere else, not here.
Right.
Just because
I agree.
somebody else might need him. He's not a starter in Boston and he's not gonna be. But the reason that I think he is because he's got not that he's a starter, but the only reason that I think that he is capable of being traded is that he's got that energy and hustle, but the Celtics need that right now, especially off the bench. Like the Celtics need that like bench work right now.
100%.
And so I think Peyton Pritchard's more likely to go just because he's fine. He's easily tradable. He's a likable guy. He can fit in somewhere else, probably get some more minutes and make a difference somewhere.
Really creative with his ball play. Like he's a really interesting young player. So
I think you could get more for Grant, but they just can't sacrifice what he brings off the bench. I don't think, unless they make some major crazy moves somewhere that I don't see happening. I don't know. I can't decide a lot of people are behind Brad Stevens, live and die Brad Stevens. I kind of think that he's your biggest problem.
Yeah, listen, here's where I stand on Brad Stevens. I am suspicious. I'm very suspicious. I'm going in optimistically, but every time I see a picture of him up in the boxes at TD. Like, I feel like he's doing like this kind of like, he's just like, he's got this villain energy about him. And I really hope that what his master plan is, whatever it is, works out. But I remain very suspicious. And that's all I'll say.
That's suspicious. I think that
Brad Stevens fans are coming for me.
Brad Stevens' ghost is in your room right now.
Oh my God. He said that was not bussin'. That was not a bussin' opinion.
Well, too bad, Brad. All right, so obviously Marcus Smart gets dealt to the Grizzlies here. I know that that's, you know what? As much as like Marcus Smart is dramatic and whatever, he did bring the energy that I think is now kind of Grant Williams' job until he or if he gets traded. I liked that about him. I think that they did need to get him off of the team just in the hopes that Jason Tatum will somehow blossom into this leader that he hasn't been. But the word around town is that the Grizzlies wanted to do this so that Ja Morant, and this is not my wording, this is actual legitimately, I think Woj said this, but they wanted an adult in the room. An adult in the room for Ja Morant. And I linked the Grizzlies' potential roster for this upcoming season. I don't hate this move for them at all. I actually really like it. I think it improves their roster a lot. But here's the thing. It's going to go one of two ways. Either Ja and Marcus are going to be the best of friends, have the best chemistry, have this attitude about them when they play, and it's going to be beautiful. Or it is going to be like this fucking submarine and implode immediately.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have said this previously on the podcast, and I agree. And I agree, but I still feel this way. I am continuously intrigued by this Grizzlies franchise. I think that they have a potential to become one of our biggest competitors in the East. And I think that they are really dynamic, really fun to watch. Looking at this roster, there's a lot of personality on this roster.
I love it.
There's a lot of personality. So
I love it.
I mean, beyond that, great basketball too. So it's just like, I have no idea how this is going to go. I mean, Steven Adams, Dylan Brooks, Marcus Smart, Ja
Morant, if he can stay out of trouble, this team is a weapon and a young one. If Ja Morant can get his shit together in 2 years, this is a conference finals team.
But here's what I'll say. It's a conference finals team if they don't let that personality seep into the team and let it become an issue. I feel like a lot of these guys have the ability or the tendency to do that. And I really hope they can keep it out of the locker room, make it all, a cohesive group. Like,
it's going to be awesome or it's going to be awful.
Exactly. And I would just love to be a fly on the wall. Like, that would be just in the Memphis Grizzlies building right now. It's just got to be. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement. But, dude, when these guys all get into, that's a lot of testosterone.
If it works out, though, that's going to be sick.
But if they make it work, it's going to be sick. And I'm excited to watch it either way.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think that is like you know how they do Hard Knocks in the NFL? I need whatever the NBA version would be for the Memphis Grizzlies.
I would die. Please, God, Netflix, anybody, if you're listening for some reason, please make a Memphis Grizzlies documentary in the off-season, preseason of this.
I know that you can't this season for obvious reasons, but next year, load it up. Load it up.
I'm ready.
Start when Ja comes back.
I will eat up all that content. All of it.
Last kind of big trade thing that I want to mention. I don't have a ton to say about it just because we've talked about Bradley Beal already. I thought that he was going to the Celtics for a hot second, but the Wizards,
can you imagine,
traded him to the Suns. We should have talked about this earlier, but we already said they're kind of a new super team. Should have thrown in the Bradley Beal news there, but it was later in our notes. Go KD. Go Slim Reaper.
Yeah.
Angelo.
Yeah. Tyler, as our resident, well, technically you're a Pistons fan because you ride the Pistons for some reason in the NBA, but
because of Detroit, baby. The Pistons are sick.
The Pistons are sick.
We're a big culture team.
And RIP the Wizards. This has been a tough look for the Wizards. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like cringe fest at that whole situation. But I agree.
Rebuilding for sure.
Yeah, rebuilding. Hopefully they can do it in an effective manner.
And they're having a pool party, baby.
Yeah, they are having a pool party. And you know what?
Who cares when you're having a pool party? They're like my Pistons. They're a lot like my Pistons. They're just vibes.
I take it back because I was thinking from the perspective of who they were losing, but you're right. The pool party.
Vibes are at an all-time high.
I'm all in.
Not really.
I'm all in on the pool party.
I'm saying they're at an all-time high. Fans I've talked to are very unhappy.
We're
such a shit show today.
My feelings are with Wizards fans for sure.
I know.
But the pool party.
Hear me out. As a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, believe me, I get it. That being said, I look back at those years now and I'm kind of like, that rocked because now we're really good and that rocks. You can't experience high highs without some low lows, people, and you got Jordan Poole.
That part. And that is one of the highest highs you can ever have.
It's Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole.